All right, Sonny, how's it going?
It's going. It's going.
It's going. Awesome. I'm pretty psyched about tonight. I know you are also.
Oh yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of good characters here, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a really interesting lineup for everyone to listen in on tonight. We have what they are calling the paragons of home cinema. And yeah, the lineup is pretty cool. We've got Lumagen, Seymour screen, digital projection, next level acoustics, Trinnov, SpeakerPower, and Valencia seating all in the house. We're going to hear from all of them tonight. What do you think?
It's going to be a mouthful for sure, no doubt. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of good names. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
Other than your pocketbook might feel a little lighter when you get done.
you might. You know what's really cool about this, though, Sonny, and we'll get to Jim in just a second. Uh, this room clocks in at 174K, which is a tremendous amount of money. But when you start to compare that price tag to the other sound rooms that are rolled out at CEDIA, some of them top $1 million. This is a lot of power, a lot of great performance that's packed into a much lower price point.
Yeah, really 175 grand. That's not too bad. I was expecting more than that. I was thinking this was going to be another one of those $500,000 rooms or more. So
Yeah,
with all these names in there, I guess that's a bargain.
yeah,
Not,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool that they've gone about it in this way, and I don't think we should waste any time. I think we should jump right into things. What do you think?
let's get after it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I'd like to introduce everyone to Jim. Hold on one second, Jim. I got to get my notes up here. Jim Peterson from Lumagen. Jim, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having us all.
This is I know a really special project for you. You guys are the lead sponsor on this room. I'd like to start off tonight before we dive into your company to just get an idea of paragons of home cinema. Where did that come from?
Well, Paragon of video processors is our branding. And it basically the Paragon is like the quintessential, the epitome, the best, the example reference of what you should have in a given area. So our goal has been from the beginning studio reference quality, and we're able to show that we're actually being used in a major studio for post-production quality analysis. And so we get to say our motto for 20 years has been see what the director intended. And so that's kind of consistent why we were thinking of what could we use to describe the Lumagen video processor message, and that is Paragon.
Mm, awesome. It's just a great theater name. I mean, a lot of times these sound rooms aren't named. So it's pretty cool to have that tagline with it.
Well, yeah, get to thank my wife for that. She's the one who came up with it. She's become our marketing person.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, why don't you give us a little background on your company?
Okay, I'll keep it pretty short. We started in 2000, late 2001, started shipping products late 2002 with our Vision series, which was analog only, and really back in the day it was 480 source to 1080 output. So that was kind of the beginning. Then we did the Vision Pro HD and the DVI. So we had DVI, then we switched to HDMI, and the Radiance series was our first product in 2008. We introduced that. So that was 1080 in, and then later in that generation, we had 4K out. So we could do 4K out, and that was a good transition. And then Radiance Pro, we've been working with that for 10 years now. We sold our first Radiance Pro 10 years ago with basically the same architecture. We've done a few tweaks, a few improvements, but the same FPGA we used then. And so what I did there is make sure that we had half of the FPGA empty when we introduced the product to add all the features we knew were coming. We didn't know dynamic tone mapping was going to be a thing, but it did, and we were able to put that in. So the Radiance Pro has been our series for the last 10 years, and we're working on the next generation, which we hope to be shipping by the end of the year. It's called the Artisan, and the Artisan is our first 8K ready product with 8K chips, an FPGA that's large enough to do 8K.
Mm, awesome. Can't wait to see that. And folks, we're going to have full coverage of all of the products we're talking about here tonight on the CEDIA show floor. So like Jim said, we're going over these briefly tonight. And Jim, we're going to be diving in really deep with the processor that you'll have in this room while we're there, but also talking about Artisan. But the Artisan product I know is really exciting for you guys.
Yes, yeah. So basically, it's a huge step. Going from 2K to 4K was actually a smaller step than going from 4K to 8K. So there's just a lot of processing horsepower we need to be able to do the 8K processing. And we wanted to make sure that we could not only do that, but to enhance. So we're basically incremental improvements over time. You know, we've been doing that for 10 years. The Artisan will start out about where we are, but it has enough gates we'll be able to add incremental performance, you know, deeper pipelines, different formats, and how we're going to do it. It's an incremental improvement on the best video processor going.
Hey, Jim,
Awesome.
let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So I don't have a video processor right now. Why would I need one? What would it bring to my home theater experience? Do I need was going to work best with a TV or a projector, or what would I need, and what would it bring for my system?
Excellent question. So we focus on projector-based home theater, home cinemas, I prefer to say, and that one of the big features we have is instant auto aspect detection and selection. So if you have a 240 screen, whatever the source is, we'll fit it correctly on the screen for you. Or if you have a 2.0 or a 178, we'll be doing all that. And we're going to be showing at the show that control of the Seymour masking directly from the Lumagen on a 178 screen, so we'll be able to control it. So that is a key feature for projectors. But even on TV, today I was talking to someone who wants to use the Lumagen to change the way the 240 content looks on his screen. He wants to zoom it in to get smaller sidebars. And so we can do that. We actually have a configuration. You can fill the screen for any content on a 178 television, 16:9 television. We don't recommend it for most people, but some people want to just fill the screen. So aspect ratio setup, aspect ratio control is key, but a primary focus for the last few years has been dynamic tone mapping. I've had the privilege of working with John Thompson, who is a producer at a major studio, who uses the Lumagen to grade his home releases. He's been doing that for at least 8 years now, and he has helped us tune our dynamic tone mapping. One of the big discussions about dynamic tone mapping is, how do you know that's what it's supposed to look like? Well, in our case, we have the producer looking at the studio reference master on a Dolby Cinema projector and his consumer release HDR through the Lumagen, and he says they match, you know, essentially perfectly. So dynamic tone mapping has been a very, very big part of Lumagen. But also scaling, the best scaling. We score extremely well in the Tektronix software that does analysis of scaling. We have all the setup features, input, deinterlacing. People tell us are currently the best deinterlacing that we have, best scaling, enhancement features. But really what the Lumagen is all about is people don't want to have to fiddle with their theaters. You set it up, you have a professional set it up, or you set it up. Once you set it up, you almost don't know it's there. And so it just is doing all the behind the scenes aspect ratio control. You select an input, it does all that automatically. So people, you know, love it that they just sit down, they press play. And that's what
easy
they get.
for the end user then.
Yes, it does make it easier for the end user.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's big. It's a bigger, more powerful brain for your TV, basically.
Yep. Yeah, and people, I mean, I remember when I started Lumagen in 2001, 2002, you know, people said, well, you don't need it. The TV does all of that. But we've shown that we can do it better, and people are willing to spend the money to get the better results.
Gotcha.
That's fantastic. And the Artisan is the model that is going to be operating in the Soundroom 11, correct? That's the Radiance Pro 5244.
Yeah, so that's our, you know, midlife improvement for the current generation, where I'm an old 2-channel audio guy. I used to have Jeff Rowland amps and Watt Puppy speakers and really expensive wire and stuff. So I really wanted to fidelity. And by the way, that's one of the things we're going for in our demo is we're not going to blow your ears off. We're going for high fidelity. The quality is there. So that is what we're really focused on.
Fantastic. Cannot wait to see it in action, Jim, and get some good content there on the show floor with you.
Should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Jim, we're going to bring on Chris Seymour from Seymour Screen Excellence for a brief chat, and we're going to bring you back on real quick to talk about the digital projection eVision 10,000i that you're going to be helping to tune, I guess you could say, with your product.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Hey there, Chris.
Hey there, Todd.
How's it going?
Doing well. Thanks for having us all on.
Thanks for jumping in with us tonight.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Doing well, Sonny. Yep.
Good.
Well,
You wouldn't be any kin to the Seymours that own the Seymour Screen Company, would you? I mean,
If things go right, then yeah, I'm related to them. If not, then I haven't heard of them.
I haven't met you before, so I didn't know. I mean, I kind of figured as much, but you know,
that's right.
This is one of the really cool cats of the industry, Sonny. So he's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Chris, before we talk about your screen, just for folks out there who aren't familiar with Seymour Screen, do you want to give us a quick background on your company?
Yeah, we started in the deep trenches of warfare and the DIY great wars of AV science about 20 years ago, and we developed a better acoustically transparent materials, got a patent on retractable and velvet and such. And then a colleague of mine, at the time a competitor, but Screen Excellence over in the UK, saw what we were doing, and they really needed a US factory, US support, US responsiveness in the custom market. So he said, hey, how about we combine our efforts? And like any good superhero movie, here we are.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sonny, I own a Seymour Screen with Enlighter Nito. It's acoustically transparent. It's awesome.
That's what we're known for. In this room, we're actually going to be showing our reference white non-acoustically transparent material.
Yeah.
Just for kind of shaking it up. We're kind of doing things differently, and this is a really fun room to be.
Jim mentioned the masking. Is that something that's automated?
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting part. Is that kind of the theme from the beginning was maybe bang for the buck, but we're really going to hit the sweet spot of showing off all of our technology, but maybe not at this crazy scale that gets you to those $500,000 room like you mentioned, Sonny, or $1 million rooms. I mean, that's scale, which is an experience. But what can you do kind of approachable? We still wanted to show our masking feature, and we have 3 different masking levels. This is our least expensive, our most affordable masking screen in the industry. We came out with this a couple of years ago, and we showed it in static form, but we've never had this in a demo before. So we're excited to be able to show you what that can do, in real world. Because masking is something, and this might be something that Todd's experience. It's hard to you can describe it. This is the screen changes shape, or it gets rid of the letters or whatnot, but people don't get it until they really experience that. And we've shown this screen in like projector shootouts before, and we've had where the masks are not engaged and where the masks are engaged, and people then start preferring cheaper projectors with the masking just because it overall helps the contrast and the image quality. So it has a very qualitative effect, but it's strong, and really, I mean, any novice can then see what it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. If you can imagine, Sonny, a TV with the black bars in the top and bottom, if those black bars are gray, it really does impact your perception of what you're seeing in the portion of the TV that you're actually watching, right? So,
and historically, I mean, getting into that feature, people are like, oh, that's the price of a car. I'll never afford that. I'm going to stick with my $1,500 screen. Why would I want to spend $30,000 on this masking screen or $20,000? But this platform, we shrunk the components. We figured out how to make the velvet parts replaceable, put them in a cardboard box, and really save a ton. We cut that price in about half. So these are still made in the U.S. to order. I got nothing on the shelf. but they're half the price of these masking screens. I think they actually start in the upper 4 digits. I forget what price this unit that we're showing in, but we're showing actually a new feature as well, is that the masks are made of a new velvet that we developed that we can actually roll, because the carpet deep pile velvets that we roll, they don't behave well. And so we had to change the fiber orientation, and so we can get that deep black look of the frame even in those masking areas for those that don't need that to be acoustically transparent.
That's really cool. And what goes behind the decision of not this being a non-AT screen?
Well, we got to show off those next level acoustics, speakers. I mean, speaker guys, they never want to have their speakers hidden. And there's acoustic reasons to do that, and there's video reasons to do that. But we just decided that, let's have an approachable system that's more like a lot of the systems that we maybe most systems we encounter, where they orient the sound field like this, and they have a defined, video area. It just kind of made sense, and we didn't want to always have to have the message of, this is the only way to do it.
Fantastic. And what's the gain on that screen, by the way?
This is our reference white. It's just barely above unity. Kind of depends on what you benchmark it against it, but it's unbenchmarked gain, I think, is right at 1.0.
Pretty easy to set up, I'm assuming.
Perfectly smooth. I mean, it's so smooth you can use it for ultra short throw. Not in this frame format, but this material you can do that. So we just wanted zero artifact, and it being used in studios.
Awesome, Sonny, you had a question?
Yeah. No, that was it.
Oh, in terms of setup,
it's going to be controlled directly from the Lumagen. So that's kind of a fun thing too, is we're foregoing the cost of automation system, and Jim's product from Lumagen is going to control that screen directly. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a really cool feature, by the way. Talk about automating your experience, because it isn't all that fun to keep trying to manually adjust your masking, particularly with all the various aspect ratios that, like Netflix is throwing out there and stuff like that. So,
it's additional value of that video processor, and which I mean, you asked, I think earlier, why would you have one? I mean, I love the idea that if you invest in this video processor, that it benefits every projector, every flat panel you're going to have. It's just video, and you're never not going to have good video. I can't think of an audio tweak that would be as powerful as what Jim's bringing with the Lumagen to the video world.
That's pretty awesome. And talking about compatibility, this screen is definitely compatible with the awesome projector that's coming in to play with you guys in this room. And this was launched at ISE earlier this year. We actually have a video up about it from our ISE coverage, but maybe you guys can tell us a little bit about this awesome digital projection. 10,000i, I believe the model number is.
Yeah, it's the eVision 10,000i RGB. RGB is important. I found out that when I didn't use that, I wasn't looking at the right projector. I had the opportunity at the Tech Summit, the CEDIA Tech Summit back in June, I think, to actually experience this projector. So what DPI is trying to do is go from they've been in the consumer market, but their primary markets have been the commercial market. So they're trying to get a projector in a price point that works in the home cinema business, that also does full Rec 2020, which is kind of the holy grail for a lot of projectors today, is can you do the full Rec 2020? This projector can. So that we're going to be showing it off. We're still trying to figure out the best 2020 clip to use for it, but it can do the full Rec 2020 at under 40 grand, including the lens. And they have various lenses. That's another advantage of this projector, is it's not a fixed lens. You can say, I've got my projector close, short throw, I've got my projector far away, long throw, or in between. So the DPI is really upping their game in the home market with this projector under $40,000.
And I believe, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first RGB laser projector on the market. Is that correct?
Well, what I'm excited about is you're getting 10,000 lumens on this thing. You get the latest chip DLP, and what's really innovative is that they're not using a color wheel in this. And there have been previous uses of like solid state LED and foregoing the color wheel, but I'm really excited to see this because you're getting RGB laser, you're getting no color wheel on a DLP. I mean, I think that could look fantastic. It's going to get capabilities out to the full Rec 2020 color triangle, so it gives a saturation and a color volume. And with that powerful an engine to begin with, that's ba-boom, I think is the technical phrase they use.
Well, what I saw with my own eyes were very deep blacks. And like you said, without that color wheel, you're not getting any of the rainbow effect or sparkles when you move your eyes back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. That's probably eliminating all the rainbow effects, right? That you hear often with DLPs. So.
Yeah, I haven't had my hands on it like Jim, but that's going to be really exciting for me. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I actually tried the hand waving because they told me there wouldn't be any rainbow effects, and there weren't. And so what they're claiming, I think, is it's the first single chip RGB laser that doesn't have a color wheel.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. The price point, like you said, I think the projector itself is around $27K, and then you have to buy the bulb or the lens on top of that.
Yes.
Correct.
So you end up about 29, 30. I'm sorry, 39 or 30, about 40. Yep.
Yeah, which is very competitive in that space.
Yes, for 10,000 lumens, as Chris was alluding to, calibrated, it's going to be less, of course, but it's still a very bright projector and much brighter than the projector that I'm using on a day-to-day basis.
You probably don't have to have a completely dark room for that, right?
You can. I from a cinema point of view, I would like a dark room, but when on game day, when you want the lights up and people are talking and stuff, having that extra light output is a big win.
Yeah, you got to have good view for Alabama football, right?
Well, I don't know about Alabama, but I will take sides on that one.
Sonny, I'm not sure if there's any projector out there bright enough for Alabama football.
Well, I think we're taking a dive. We're on the downside. So.
Awesome. Well, guys, Chris, I know you got to go. Thanks for hopping in with us tonight and talking shop, and really looking forward to seeing you out in Denver and going in depth on what you're bringing out there.
Yeah, I'm excited because this brings kind of still spectacle. We got a little cool things to show you, but this is at this approachable, realistic value. I think. That's the most exciting thing. I think is seeing what parts of that really just play well together.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. All right, Jim, Chris, thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you, Todd.
And we are going to shift over to Next Level Acoustics, and we have Rob Goldman. Rob, how's it going?
How's it going, Todd? Sonny?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
It's going.
Yeah.
Going. My Baltimore Orioles are up there battling your Red Sox.
Oh, the Red Sox were so bad for so long this year, and then all of a sudden they just turned it around. I'm just glad that the Yankees aren't in first place.
That's definitely something we can agree on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks would agree.
I used to go down to Baltimore all the time. That was post 2004 when the Red Sox won after 86 years, and then the Baltimore Stadium became Fenway South.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
Get in up in Boston, so we had to travel.
Those were dark days down here in Baltimore.
Those were dark days,
yes. Awesome. Well, Chris alluded to the fact that the screen is not AT, and part of the reason there is to have you guys come up there and show off your awesome speakers. So let's start off with just a little background on your company, so we can frame that for everybody, and then we'll dive into the technology that you guys are bringing out there.
Absolutely. So we're Next Level Acoustics. We're a custom speaker manufacturer based out of the New England area. What we really do is we focus on design-forward performance solutions for the CI dealer community. So we started back in 2015, but our lead engineer, John Solacito, which is actually the inventor of the infinite slope speaker back in the 80s and the early 90s. So he's been building out speakers for 35 plus years. And then, we slowly started out with enclosures for Sonos play bars. And then that morphed into sound bars. And now, theater speakers, unique subwoofers, and And we are debuting our flagship cinema series at CEDIA in 2025.
Fantastic. Debuting. Okay, so we don't have any images to show tonight. We're going to have plenty of images, though, from Denver, but can you give us a little description of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the cinema series is a horn-based system, and just real fast, the difference between these versus other traditional horns is as follows. So normally with horns, you get a ton of cinematic output, bone crushing, dynamics. But a lot of times in the higher frequencies, as you start getting up towards reference, it starts getting really fatiguing. And a lot of times you may get some tinniness. So what John was able to do is using a proprietary crossover, and we build all our crossovers in-house. Everything's made in our factory down in Connecticut. He was able to limit 90% of those first order reflections. So in layman's terms, what does that mean? You're able to get the cinematic output of a horn with 96 dB efficiency, but get the articulation and the finesse of a silk dome tweeter, which just blows people's minds, because these speakers go from, James Bond and explosions and a new Mission Impossible to Norah Jones and Lady Gaga, like it's shooting lamps, and you're getting no distortion. You're just getting silky smooth vocals. And then in the next sentence, you're getting this unbelievable just mid-bass impact and overall slam. So we're really excited about the cinema series, and coupled with that is the fact that these aren't like massive, cars that you're basically rolling into your theater. These are nice and compact. I mean, normally when you see horn-based systems, they're pretty big. But we're able to get that similar output, and our Cinema 8s are only like 12 by 24, and our Cinema Pros are about 42 by 12. So you're talking about a ton of performance in a smaller form factor. So we're going to be showing a 9.4.6 system. Sorry, a 7.4.6. We're going to have our new flagship Cinema Pros up front. And those are dual 8s with dual 6s with a horn. And then we're going to have quad Cinema 8s for the side speakers, because we have multi-rows. And then we're going to have dual Cinema 8s in the rears. And then we're going to have quad high velocity 15 subwoofers, which, if you don't know anything about a high velocity sub, you need to come check this out. It's proprietary to us. Basically, what it does is high velocity. As fast as that bass hits is as fast as it's out. A lot of front firing subs are a lot slower, need a ton more power. This thing's able to hit, for 15s, able to hit hard, fast, down to about 17, 16 hertz with zero distortion in the first and second harmonics. So that's just like, you're just going to sit there and you're going to have smiles from ear to ear. And then in terms of Atmos, we've got a modified version, because we're a custom speaker manufacturer. We took our IC44As, got rid of the angle, and re-engineered them to be straight downward firing on ceiling speakers on brackets that pivot. Because obviously at CEDIA, we're not going to start building a false ceiling. So we've got a 9.4.6 that's reasonably priced at all in at $52,000 retail. That's really going to push that price performance ratio.
Fantastic. The LCR, are they wall mountable stud? Can they go in stud bays?
Yeah. So again, what's great about the Cinema series is you can configure based upon your installation. So we happen to be showing on walls. These can easily be put in as in walls, and we have a partial in wall. So if you have 2x4 construction, our Cinema 8s can be made as a partial in wall, which means you keep the same air load. Most of the speaker sits in the wall. Only about 1.5 inches sits on the wall. When you put the grill on it, it looks like an acoustic panel. And now you've got a horn speaker system that's able to fit in 2x4. And considering that the profile is so small at only 1.5 inches, as long as your screen sits 2 inches off the wall from the wall to the back of the screen, you can put this in 2x4 construction behind acoustically transparent.
Awesome. And the horn itself, is it directional in terms of not needing any toe in? Can you alter the directivity of the horn?
Not well. So, I mean, we are going to be towing these in.
Okay. Oh, you are. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So because we're going wide, we're actually going to tow these speakers in.
Okay, cool.
So the front two are going to be on special brackets that allow them to pivot up, down, left, and right. Same thing with the rear speakers.
Okay, that makes sense. So,
do they have to be mounted on the wall, or can these be brought out into the room too, or is that just how you designed them? Or
I mean, a little boundary effect. I mean, generally these are. What's great about our line is that any one of our speakers can literally be an in-wall, on-wall, bookshelf, tower, or soundbar. So if somebody said, "Hey, I want the Cinema Pros as towers," we can make them as towers, and then yes, those would be configured to sit off the wall, and then we can make matching center channels and so on and so forth. And that's why this line is so versatile. Is that we're taking these speakers and we can re-engineer them into different form factors for you.
yeah, I was just thinking, well, I've always thought of Next Level as being the on-wall, in-wall type, speaker manufacturer. So that's why I was asking that. So to see if you actually could design them to be tower speakers. Yeah.
Absolutely. We can even design them to be, if you had a multi-need, such as we can do the Cinema series as a dedicated center channel, and then do bookshelf versions left and right, and then do in-walls, sides, and rears. We can even do, toe-in angles built in. We actually did a modified version where the speaker was in wall, and these were used for front wides, and then it started angling out from 0 degrees at the wall going out to 45. We've done God speakers at 45 degrees, ceiling mounted. Again, these are just starting points. Depending upon the room, I mean, these are really solutions that you can tailor and really create a one-on-one system.
Gotcha.
Fantastic. Rob, did you want to tackle this question that's on the screen here for fast firing subs that you were talking about in terms of group delay at 20 Hertz?
You know what? This is where I'd have to bring in my engineer on that. But if whoever asked the question can email that to info@nextlevelacoustics.com, I can definitely get you that data.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I cannot wait to hear these speakers, because I have some designs on getting rid of my floor standers in my room and getting a larger AT screen. So this has been on my mind for a while to hear what these sound like.
Well, we can't wait to demo them, and we're just so glad that we're partnering with Jim, Chris, Seymour, and everybody that's part of this room. I think the biggest focus for us was about showing something that's a little more obtainable, but has that performance that can compete, 5-10 times, what you would normally think that you'd have to pay.
I think Todd's probably going to end up with his room in his house is what's going to happen.
It's very possible.
Yeah, Rob, when you drive it out, you're just going to have to make a stop on the way home through Maryland, and then
we did put it out there, and dealers have already snatched it up. So, but you know what, Todd? You can always take it offline. I'd be happy to work something out.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. I hope you have safe travels, and it's going to be a lot of fun to check these speakers out in person. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. We are going to move on to talk to the processor that's going to be feeding that all-important audio information into your beautiful speakers. So we're going to bring on Dave Pedigo. And Rob, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you soon. How's it going, Dave? Whoop. Looks like you're muted. There we go. There we go, Dave.
Can you hear me now? Can you?
Yes.
flag in the background there. So just so you know, since you're an Orioles fan, I got to
Okay.
Cal Ripken buy Lou Gehrig's record in person. It's amazing.
I was there the night before that happened, but not the next day. I was at home watching that all go down. But that was an incredible period of time to witness in person,
You can't
wasn't
tell me they didn't groove some fastballs right down the middle for him to hit home runs. But whatever,
did.
it was glorious. Glorious.
They were grooving fastballs to him during his last year also.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about Cal Ripken, Sonny, just in case.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, I used to have a Cal Ripken rookie card, by the way. I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, it was in the house at one time, and I don't know how it got away, but
that might be something worth digging around for.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on the anniversary, Dave, of 2131. So
yes, sir. September 5th.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty cool time in sports. So, Sonny, I've spent a lot of time with Dave, with him helping tune my room up with this Altitude 16 that's sitting back there running waveforming in my home theater room. So
Okay.
Dave and I don't know, we've probably spent what, 6-7 hours together?
No, we spent some time together for sure. It's a little bit harder when you're doing it remote, for sure.
A lot of fun. Really good guy. Very knowledgeable. Dave, will you be on site at CEDIA this year?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm actually driving out there, so I'll be there from Sunday to Monday.
Fantastic. So what are you guys bringing to the table? Well, actually, first, Dave, let's dial back real quick for everybody watching. Can you just give us a quick background on Trinnov?
Sure.
Just to frame it for everyone.
Trinnov is the global leader in audio processing, founded by three really the smartest guys I've ever met, and twice as humble, which is not common in this world. Like, if you haven't met Arno Laborie, he's like the sweetest, most gentle guy. If he decided to be evil, he'd take over the world. So we've been around for over 20 years. We were founded in about 2001, so 24 years. We had most of our success in the early years in pro audio, and we launched the Altitude 32 in 2015, and it's now in the CEDIA Product Hall of Fame. The beauty of it is that even if you bought an Altitude, let's say you had Altitude number 1, we have Altitude number 1 in 2015, it's running HDMI 2.1, it's running waveforming. It's a platform that is designed for extremely long longevity, and is also designed to be upgradable. So it's an incredible product for sure. So we'll be using at the show, we'll be using an Altitude 1624, which is 16 digital inputs, and we have 24 output channels.
Okay. So, and it's a 19 channel system, I believe, altogether, correct?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, is 19 total channels.
19 total channels. And you said which processor is it again? It's the Altitude.
We're using the 32, and then 32. It's 1624. So like if you buy an Altitude 32, like some people say, I want to buy an Altitude 32 because it does 192 24 for audio. You can get it as few as 8 channels out. And we're doing it with 24 channels out.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's great.
Yes,
it's great.
Yeah.
So I know one of the technologies that you'll be showing off in this room starts with a W. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's called. Waveforming, is that? Yeah. Yes, we will be showing waveforming. And so the nice thing about this demonstration of waveforming is that we will be doing cylindrical waveforming, not to get too technical or whatever. But the cylindrical waveforming means that we can use 4 subwoofers. We're only doing 4. A lot of times you see us at trade shows and we're doing 16 subwoofers, 24 subwoofers. That's not really necessary. It's just kind of a, you know what, if you can do it, let's show it when you're at a trade show. But it's nice to do a cylindrical waveforming demonstration for sure.
something more realistic for the end user. Most end users, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, you know,
he could have 24 in his room, but yeah.
Right. Well, exactly. I mean, Todd's a baller, so you know. But
it's actually 48. Just to set the
and
record.
for all of you who are wondering if I'm missing my tooth, because I know I can see it. Yes, I'm missing my tooth. It's a long story. Come see me at our room, which is the HPA room 208, and I'll explain to you how my fake tooth broke this weekend. So there you go. Sorry, I'm so self-conscious about it. I'm not a good-looking man, but I look like Cletus when I've got a front tooth missing for sure. So, so the cylindrical waveforming is the other thing, Sonny, about it is, and not to take up too much time, it's also based off of the size of the room. So, like when we're doing a trade show, like when we did it a couple years ago, and we were using Ascendo, they're like, I want to show you infrasonic with a 21-inch sub, so that's why they had so many. We still would have had a decent amount because the room is big. But any room, you can do cylindrical waveforming. You just need 4. So you have 2 emitters in the front and 2 absorbers in the back. So, and it makes a great difference for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely made a difference in my room. And Sonny, I don't know if you remember, we had Arno on.
Yeah, I do.
Boy, last year sometime, I believe, right?
Yep.
And he showed us, Dave, some case studies that you guys have done with cylindrical waveforming and the impact that it has, and it's quite profound.
It's shocking. The biggest difference you'll get is, so we can't, like when we're at CEDIA and we show a lot of, like last year, you know, I think we had 16 subs. We didn't need that many, but we were able to get about 2 dB of variation across all seats across the whole base spectrum. So with cylindrical waveforming, you're not going to get quite that mean spatial deviation, but you're still going to get that really solid limited decay time. The bass is in and out, punchy, amazing. So, you know, there's a little sacrifice, a little bit, for lack of a better term, by using fewer subs, but at the same time, it's still so much better.
Hey, I'm still game. One day we got to get together and figure it out for my room. I started on that journey back after we had our last interview, but I don't know, it kind of faded away for some reason, but maybe we'll get back on it at some point in time.
I'm here. I mean, with you and your Southern accent and me with my missing front tooth, we've got to do this for sure.
We got to change the name from Cinema Creek Cinema, or actually it's AV Nirvana at Cedar Creek now. We got to change it to Hillbilly Cinema. Exactly, for sure.
Yes, powered by the Trinnov processor, real hillbilly right there, right? You just got to put some duct tape over the top of the case.
We'll make the camouflage. Perfect.
Dave, real quick before we let you go, we have someone asking digital version of the Altitude. Whoops, that was my question back to him. Let me see here. Wondering if you can provide any information about the digital version.
Hi, Big Street Cinema. We'll see you at CEDIA.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, we'll have full coverage with Trinnov at CEDIA, and I'm sure we'll cover just about any question that can be covered while we're talking to you guys out there.
Wonderful. I can't wait. And so we'll just I'm trying to do a pitch, but if you have questions or whatever, we're going to do free training on Wednesday before the show begins in our HPA room. It's ground level, so you didn't even need a badge. It's just we ask you to pre-register because we can only get about 50 in for each class. And we will be doing a class on audio over IP and AES 67.
Fantastic. Awesome. Look forward to seeing you out there, Dave.
Yep.
Yes, sir. With all my teeth. It'll be great.
Yeah.
If all goes well. If all goes well.
Okay. All right. Have a safe drive. Okay. Next up, Sonny, we have the amplification for the room. We have Rigo with SpeakerPower. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you guys for having me.
Rigo, how you doing? Yeah.
Thanks for taking time out of your night to join us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's still evening here, so I know you guys are on the East Coast, but yeah, I just got off work right now, so here at the house, and
Oh, fantastic.
This podcast.
Are you out in California or?
Yeah, that's right. Irvine, California. Yep.
Fantastic. So why don't you give us a little background on SpeakerPower? Because I'm guessing people might know the name, but they might not know a lot about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. SpeakerPower was founded in 2002. It was an OEM plate manufacturing company. That's how it started in pro audio. And around 2010, it launched its first home theater sub products for the DIY community. And we've really just built a lot of reputation in the home theater space in that aspect. With the 6,000 watt amplifier that we sell, and there's nothing like it on the market. It has amazing current capabilities, and that's what people come to us for is sustained power, high quality product. We're not the cheapest, but we definitely provide an exceptional value in terms of, power, watt, price per watt, I should say. So, and as of late, obviously the home theater industry as a whole is booming, and we make the sub amps that everybody loves, but we decided it would be good to also provide just good high quality amplification that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and in a nice chassis, right? Because a lot of times what a lot of people do is they'll buy from overseas or something that's off the shelf, maybe change a couple things, rebrand it as theirs, and sell it, right? What we're trying to do is kind of design here, manufacture it here, from raw components. So we buy the PCBs, we buy the components, we design everything, we send it out to a local contract manufacturer that has pick and place, and they make the boards and sub assemblies for us. And we package it all, test it all in house, and ensure that it's working properly prior to shipping. And I think the beautiful thing about SpeakerPower is the customer service we provide. In terms of you send us an email, we try to reply pretty much instantly, but sometimes we get busy doing other things. But usually within 24 hours, we'll reply to emails, things like that, just to help people out.
So what kind of power are we looking at with these Class D amps that you're going to debut here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be providing 3 amplifiers, 2 8-channel amps and 1 4-channel amp. The 8-channel amp is 400 watts at 4 ohms. The 8-channel amp is 400 watts at 8 ohms. The 4-channel amp is 700 watts at 4 ohms. And that'll be used for waveforming. The other 2 8 channels will be used for the left, center, right, and surrounds, as well as the Atmos. So it's 19 total channels. And the MSRP for the 8-channel is $1999, and the MSRP for the sub amp, which is a 4-channel 700 watt sub amp, is $14.99. But we have a show special, which I think is pretty great. It's $14.99 show special. So you just gotta have to get in contact with us and just let us know, like, hey, I heard you guys at the show, and I would like to get some of these. It's just to kind of just get into this a little bit more, this community a little bit more, and just let people know that we're here to build high quality products built in the US with proper design. We're able to kind of keep the price low, right? Just because we can manufacture these amplifiers in a way that makes it both a win for us and a win for the customers as well.
So no tariff pricing, right?
Yeah, correct.
So just to be clear, for the 8-channel, that show special is at $14.99.
That's right. Yep.
That's incredible.
And then the
8-channel
the 4-channel is $11.99.
Yeah, that's
show
right.
price.
So a lot of times we've been getting asked the question, why not a 3-channel, 5-channel, 7-channel amp, right? Which is typical for home theater situations. The thing is that the modules are made in stereo, So we also want these to be used, you know, whenever somebody needs amplification, right? So sometimes the commercial integrators need 4-zone stereo. So this amplifier can also provide that as well. And realistically is, you know, from what I see in the community is a lot of people are always upgrading, right? You'll see people go from, you know, 7.4.6 to, you know, 9, and then, you know, maybe add 11, and then some more subs, right, to take advantage of the waveforming.
This guy right there.
Well,
You're talking to that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
A
The
lot of
way
people
I
do
see it.
the voice of God center too, so that evens it out. So
Yeah.
you know,
There you go.
that-
Yeah, and the way I see it is, okay, you may not need all these channels at the moment, but it's still going to be, you know, less expensive than any other 6-7 channel amp you may find out there. So why not just buy it, and then you're not stuck in that, man, I should have just got the 8 channel 2 years ago, right? Type of thing. So that's also another reason why we thought it would be good to, and also just to kind of be different from what's out there.
And we're talking 8 channels, 400 watts per at 8 ohms.
4 ohms.
4 ohms. Yeah.
4 ohms. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power packed in
Yeah.
there per channel.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot, right? Double, but realistically, it's you know 3 dB of output difference, right? So if your speakers go to 106, it's okay. It's 103 now, right? Type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's really, you won't notice it in normal, you know, day to day listening to your, you know, your home theater. So yeah, it's kind of a trade off we had to make just to be able to fit everything into a 2U chassis, right? Most of these 8 channels are 4U, 3U, they're very big, and they either come, if it isn't a 2U, it's like usually only RCA, and it's, you know, some you know, small kind of RCA. Ours are big chunky RCAs along with, you know, Neutrik XLRs. So it's all high quality components. It's not, you know, we're not cheaping, you know, cheaping. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're not
cheaping
you know,
out. Yeah, sure.
using, you know, inexpensive products to keep the cost low.
Skipping in any areas. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And like our power button, you know, is it's a push button, very quiet, and has a ring LED. But the beautiful thing is you could turn it off. So if you're using this in your living room or something, you don't want to see the lights, you know, and it's also fanless. So that's the other benefit, is all these are going to be without fans because the chassis is, and you know, all aluminum. So that provides enough heat sinking, being that they're Class D, they're super efficient. You don't need a fan. So, you know, for the average, you know, person that doesn't have a $150,000 home theater, you know, they just want to use their living room, but maybe they want to upgrade their, you know, their amplification from what the AVR has, or, you know, anything like that. They could just buy, you know, small chassis and get, you know, 8 channels of amplification from it.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to tackle this question real quick, or if you want to just talk in generalities, and they can contact you later for some more specific information, or you can just point them to your website, I guess.
Yeah, the SYNAD, I don't know off the top of my head because that's signal to noise plus distortion. I'd have to go back. I've been designing a lot of new products lately that we have coming out, so the specs are kind of like all over the place. Right now. So I don't know. I do know that the SNR is 121 dB, and the noise floor is on par with like Purify modules in terms of, you know, when they have the gain input gain enabled. So very low noise floor, you know, very low distortion, of course. I just don't know that number off the top of my head, but again, we respond very quickly. So if they could just send me, you know, go to our website or send me an email, rigo@speakerpower.net, we can answer that immediately.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to see these products in action. Is this your first time out at CEDIA?
Yeah, this is our first. We've been to CEDIA before, but just kind of roaming around, just checking, you know, what the industry is doing. But this is our first time showing a product. We've gone to NAMM before, which is more for like pro audio stuff. We showcased at NAMM, but we feel like there's, you know, we've kind of boomed in the home theater market, so we want to kind of come in and show our new products and let people see what, you know, an American made product that doesn't break the bank, and kind of bring back that
yeah.
manufacturing right back to the States.
These price points are
Yeah,
super attractive.
they
Yeah,
are.
exactly. And we also plan to come out with like digital, so it's kind of a exclusive here for you guys. We also plan to come out with the AES version and
Okay.
even AES Dante version for the more professional installers that just want to make their life easy, and also
The Trinnovs of the world.
yeah, exactly, and also with the DB25 connector, so it's just one cable and you're done, right? So we're looking at coming out with basically the same amp, just a different back to accommodate these kind of things.
Oh, cool. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rigo, I really look forward to meeting you in person and diving in a little bit deeper into your products.
Yeah,
out
absolutely.
there at Denver. So I'll probably see you on the weekend at some point.
Yeah,
I would
sounds
assume,
good.
or early in the week.
All right, perfect.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us
Thanks,
this
Rigo.
evening.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me, and I hope you guys have a good night.
You too. All right. All right, Sonny. Well, we're down to the last member of the sound room. This might be, I mean, we've talked to a lot of important folks, but when it comes to comfort,
Doesn't get more important than this.
does not
You gotta
get
be
more.
comfortable while you're sitting there watching that movie. Yep.
That's right. And Lucas, I wish I could remember your full legal name, and I can't, so I'm not going to make you repeat it. I was trying to remember it. But this is Lucas from Valencia Theater Seating. And Lucas, you guys are looking to make a splash there this year.
Well, thanks very much for having us on, Todd. We are very excited to be going to CEDIA this year and, showcasing some of our latest and greatest products in, showroom 11 and especially outside as well.
Yeah, do you want us to give can you give us a little background on your company?
Yeah, absolutely. Valencia Theater Seating has been North America's premier home theater seating provider and also luxury home theater seating provider for many years. Our company's been around for more than 10 years. We're widely known for having some of the best handcrafted quality Italian leather chairs out in the industry. And, especially with a lot of us now venturing into different markets, we're now starting to, venture a little bit more into, the commercial market and whatnot. There's going to be actually a lot of new stuff coming out, and that in probably about the next year or so. But, again, being widely known for our leather, we also offer a lot of different custom abilities and whatnot, from different sizings, different colors, two tones, adding in different features just to create an amazing overall experience in the home theater.
Fantastic. So what are you guys bringing out to Denver?
So we actually have a couple different models. So in the actual SR11 room, in the back row, we're actually going to have our Tuscany Premier Series. That's going to be on risers, and we're actually one of the only companies in North America to actually provide risers built into our chairs. That's going to be our Napa 11,000. It's going to have headrest, lumbar, full power recline, basic LED lighting. And then in the front row, we're going to actually have our Barcelona Ultimate, which is fully wrapped in Napa 20,000 leather, headrest, lumbar, full power recline, one-touch memory, full adjustable RGB lighting. One of the biggest highlights about the Barcelona is it's actually kind of like a dual style chair. It's great for audiophile listening and as well as home theater because it's got that extra low profile back. It's great to allow all ambient sounds to come around you. And then when you want to be able to kick back and relax, you have the extra headrest to come up. Then outside of the room, we're actually also going to have our Tuscany Ultimate Heat and Ventilation. This is one of the newest members to the Valencia family. Our Ultimate Heat and Ventilation carries a lot of the same features as the Barcelona, using Napa 20,000 leather. It's fully wrapped, headrest, lumbar, full power recline, same one-touch memory, full adjustable RGB lightings, but the big star player of the game is the heat and ventilation. So we have 3 different levels of heat and 3 different levels of cool. Great for, warm summer nights or cold winter days when you just want to be able to warm up. But the biggest thing is especially with, the evolution of the home theater space and whatnot, we want to try to start to create more of like a dual climate area, or something a little bit for everybody. So especially with the individual controls, you can actually set each chair to its own set. So like myself, I'm a little bit more of a larger gentleman, so I run a little bit hotter, so I actually prefer the cooling features. My wife, who actually has one of the heated chairs, she loves the heat, so I'm usually running the airflow on it. She's usually running the heat, which again creates that dual, kind of that dual climate atmosphere. So in that way, everyone's comfortable. Now, also, we also have our Oslo Ultimate there, and it's going to have the silver stitch design. The Oslo Ultimate is one of our oldest models and kind of one of our tried and true, same as like the Tuscany and the Oslo. They're essentially what we're widely known for those particular models. Those are kind of like our flagship models, as if you wanted to say. The Oslo is kind of like, the Bentley design of home theater, where it has that extra layer of pillow top on it just to create an amazingly comfortable chair. Carries a lot of, again, the same features: headrest, lumbar, full power recline, fully wrapped up at 20,000 leather. The biggest thing, especially with our chairs as well, is they are zero clearance. So you need very minimal space in between the actual wall and the chair themselves. So in that way, you can actually kick back. So that's going to
awesome.
that's what we're going to be premiering over at outside and inside showroom 11 at CEDIA.
And that Oslo Ultimate, is that kind of now your entry level seating option?
No, that's going to be underneath our bespoke series. Our entry level is more of like our cinema level. That's where you're kind of in like the Verona, the Picenzas, that sort of stuff. And then you get up into the Premier, which then opens up, the Napa 11,000 leathers with the Tuscanys, the Oslos. And then you get up into our bespoke series, which is the Ultimates. Sorry.
So what is a chair? Just say you were talking about this extra layer of cushion, I guess you could say. What does a single chair for something like that cost, that particular model?
So that particular model in the US starts right around $2,000 per chair, just depending on if you're going up to the XL, then it's a little bit more, or we do actually have a step down. That's the luxury. That one comes in at around the $1,750 range.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah. All right. So I have a question for you, and I might sound ignorant asking this, but you're talking about 20,000 leather, 11,000 leather. What does that mean exactly?
So it's just more or less like the different grades. So like a Napa 11,000 leather is going to be kind of what you would find more in like, in like an Audi or a Mercedes or a BMW. Once you start getting up into the Napa 20,000 leathers, that's where it's going to be an extra thick hide that's shaven down. So it's absolutely smooth. It has no pigmentation bumps or anything, versus where an 11,000 leather is still going to maintain some of the natural pigment levels, and as well as kind of the natural poristic feel, if you wanted to say.
Okay.
So it's just more of a smoother, a little bit more of a matte style leather.
Okay. I mean, you're talking BMWs, Mercedes, all of a sudden. The seats are sounding pretty nice.
Talking about some Maseratis too.
That's when you get up into the Ultimates. That's that's kind of like your Bentley, your Rolls Royce kind of territory there.
Yeah.
One thing you're talking about with the chair that you can heat and cool, immediately what pops to my mind is my home theater, when I used to have a bulb-based projector, would just get so warm. Having that ability, if you still have a bulb-based projector, and I knew some lasers do throw off a little bit of heat, it would be so nice to be able to just press a little button and have it start to cool down without having to keep running air while the rest of your house is chilling out, turning into an icebox.
No, exactly. And that's one of the biggest reasons of why we decided to come out with that. Even if you're running lasers or an old school ball projector, the room's going to get naturally hot, let alone once you start throwing 4 or 5 people in there. That's why it's so important to, start creating different sets of chairs, so in that way we can accommodate to any sort of atmosphere or environment. Why we started coming out with more of like the auto filing listening chairs. Now we're coming out with the heat and ventilation. This is again just creating and opening up the world to more options when it comes to theater seating. Like at what you guys said at the beginning of the conversations, the seating is almost like the most important part of the room. There's an old saying that I like to say: you could go out and spend $1 million on a car. It could have, you know, a $200,000 paint job. It could have an 1,800 horsepower motor. But if you get in the thing and you can't sit in it and drive it for longer than 30 minutes, why'd you just spend $1 million on a car? So, you know, having a home theater and home theater seats that pair together just creates the ultimate experience at the end of the day.
I agree.
For sure. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. We do have one question about seats that optimize space, and I'm assuming that might be side-by-side space. Do you make some chairs that are more narrow in order to fit more chairs into a less wide room?
Yes, we do actually. If you're looking for more of something that's going to be kind of more of like a space-saving design, we actually have a Tuscany Slim version, which is just going to be a couple more inches in the actual width and the armrests as well. So, you know, like as an example, like a row of 4 love seat center of them comes in at 112 inches, which is very, very, very compact when you're especially thinking about, you know, 200-inch rooms or whatnot. And a lot of the times that's where I would gravitate more customers towards if they are trying to fit more seats and still get an amazing seat. Now, we also do offer that in the Napa 11,000 series underneath the Premier. And we also have a Tuscany Ultimate Slim in the 20,000 series.
Oh, wow. So you're basically talking about a 10-foot wide space, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can accommodate it for just about any size, but that's also why we do also offer a lot of different configurations. Left love seat, right love seat center. You can also do like sofa configurations. I actually just had a customer who ordered a 5-seat sofa.
Wow.
So literally just a left arm and a right arm and then 3 no arms. And that's going to be their front row.
And does Valencia offer fake or false armrests for that kind of configuration where you can put, you know, basically slide an armrest down in between the seats?
Yes, we do actually have what's referred to as an armrest insert. So it's more or less about a 10-inch wide wedge that's about this deep. It's about an inch or 2 thick, and it has an armrest floating right on top of it. So it just slips right in between the cushions. You don't need to pull the chairs apart. There's no building. There's no engineering. You know, a blindfolded person could do it in 2 seconds.
I want to see a blindfolded person in the theater room watching the movie. That's what I want to say.
Well, it's already dark enough anyway, so you just kind of just do one of these.
That's exactly right. Awesome. Well, Lucas, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a rundown on what you guys have to offer. And we're going to be, you know, providing coverage for your products while we're there. Will you be on site?
Yes, I will be at CEDIA.
Awesome. So I guess you and I will have some good FaceTime there together, checking everything out.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be able to meet you guys in person. You know, we're encouraging everyone to come down to Showroom 11, check out all the amazing stuff that Lumagen's got in the room, SpeakerPower, you know, all of our other brand members as well. You know, this is going to be an amazing show, and we're super excited to be there, and I'm super excited to meet everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Likewise. Well, awesome. Lucas, we'll let you go for the evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Have a good one, guys.
Good to meet you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Sonny. That's sounds like a pretty awesome room, right?
So tell me again, when is CEDIA?
CEDIA is, oh boy, Paul Mudo. It's geez.
The first week of September, maybe, or
yeah, first week of September. We're talking the 4th through the 6th.
Okay.
Out at the Denver, Colorado Convention Center. And probably wouldn't be that difficult. I'm not quite sure how folks who aren't part of the industry can get in. But if you hit me up over at AV Nirvana, I'll get that information to you. But people that want to get in can generally get in to check things out.
I may have to check the flight schedule, see what's going on.
Awesome. It'd be great to have you out there. I'm sure you'd enjoy soaking stuff like this room in. I mean, how incredible does this room sound?
Yeah. It's got to be nice, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot going into it, that's for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt that it's going to sing and apparently be very comfortable to sit in, which is always welcomed at these kinds of events.
I'm definitely looking for a new chair because mine has, it's just one of those cheap, I don't even know. It's like home theater store, recliners. It cost about $800-900, I think. So, and as my wife says, I have no more rear end, so there's no cushion there anymore. So
Sounds like a
I'm
sign to
looking for
upgrade.
something with some more cushion. It definitely gets old sitting on that recliner, in that recliner for
I'm
any
thinking
length
the heating and cooling feature too
Yeah,
sounds just
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Yeah, I got that in
Yeah.
my truck, but yeah, I said it's pretty nice. It would be in a recliner too. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely the cooling part for me. I would take advantage of that every single time I sat down. Awesome. Well, Sonny, we're going to see each other again on Thursday, 3
Thursday.
p.m. Eastern. We have another sound room crew that we're going to talk to. Different kind of room. This is one that falls more on the expensive side. I believe the total cost for that room is $1.3 million. I think, price points aside, when you look at those price points, it's like, wow, how could one compare to the other in any way? But I can almost guarantee you that this Paragons of Home Cinema is going to sound insanely good.
Oh yeah.
And if you didn't know the prices, you probably would walk out of both with your head spinning. So it's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be pretty exciting to see how all these guys match up together.
No doubt. I'm sure both of them will be great sounding rooms, and anybody would probably be happy with either one of them. So
Yep. Awesome. Well, I guess it's time for us to sign off. It's been a little bit over an hour. Fun hanging out with you tonight.
yep, enjoyed it, and I'll see you Thursday, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, folks out there, come visit us at the Home Theater Forum, avnirvana.com. You can hang out with Sonny and I over there, and definitely drop in and ask some questions. If you need any information about the products we were talking about tonight, you can always come over to AV Nirvana and send a PM to either Sonny or I, and we can hook you up with that info that you're looking for. All right, folks, we'll see you on Wednesday.
Take care.
If you enjoy content like this, hit like, subscribe, and then join the conversation on avnirvana.com.